Sarah, and I'm going to show you how to make oat cakes. Now this is a really super duper simple recipe. It comes with a bit of interesting history, which I'll tell you about. But if you want to skip my waffle and just go to the recipe itself, I'll put a link below to the timestamp where I stop waffling. Hopefully it won't be too long. Bear with. This is interesting, and normally history is not really my thing unless it's related to either food or nursery rhymes. Nursery rhymes are awesome. This recipe dates back to around the Roman times now, and probably before then, but that's the first sort of documentation of it. Scottish soldiers actually used to carry a sack of oatmeal with them. A sack of oatmeal and a griddle, or like a hot plate, and so that they always had something on hand to eat. And what they would do is they just mix the oats up with a little bit of water, form them, smush them up into a cake shape and cook them. You know, not the tastiest, almost gourmet food in the world, but that way they always had a source of nutrition with them. Something that I read that I really liked, Samuel Johnson defined oats in a 1755 dictionary as a grain which in England is generally given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. Lord Elibank apparently retorted, yes, where else will you see such horses and such men? I just like that. I think that's cool. Now, there are lots of different oat cake recipes out there. Some of them contain flour, and I experimented a bit with that, but I didn't like it as much, and I thought, well, this is quite a nice gluten-free option as well, because there's a lot of gluten-free people out there. And you know, if you're having someone over for lunch at the last minute who's gluten-free, this would be a great thing to put out on a cheese platter or something like that. It will vary a lot in texture depending on what kind of oats you use. I looked up Prince Charles's recipe for this, because you know, me and Charlie, we're like that, we're on first name basis. His is a bit more, his uses like a mixture of medium oats, fine oatmeal and pinhead oatmeal. You can use oatmeal, you can use whole rolled oats, you can get like really grainy oats, so it will depend a lot on what kind of oats you're using. I'm just using like instant oats for it, so like the rolled oats that are cut a little bit smaller. But I mean, you can also whiz up rolled oats with a stick blender, experiment with that. The texture will also depend on the water content, whether they come out chewy or crisp, and also how long you cook them for. So there's a lot of variables, although it is a really simple recipe. Now I'm just using good old Pam's rolled oats. As I say, they're not the whole ones, they're like more like the instant sort of ones. And I'm going to use about 200 grams of those in a bowl. And as I say, you can experiment with different types of oats just to see what kind of texture works for you. Into that, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Now, of course, I'm doing a very plain recipe here. You can add other things in here to flavour it. You can add a bit of sugar as well if you want to offset the salt, or you can add paprika or garlic powder, the onion powder, you know, just experiment, because it is a very plain recipe. You know, the rolled oats really are the predominant flavour in it, and it is designed so that you can accompany absolutely anything. I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of table spread, but again, if you want to add more flavour, I mean, you can put bacon fat in here. I've heard of people making it with goose fat, or you can just put straight oil in here, but you know, or proper butter probably tastes a bit better. But I'm just going to melt 2 tablespoons of table spread. Right, I've just boiled the jug. I'm going to add about 100 mils of boiling water. Give that a really good mix up till it starts coming together. That boiling water will just start softening the oats. This is really a blank canvas. A lot of people, it's a very traditional breakfast thing. You can have it with jam. I mean, it'll be brilliant breakfast on the go. I mean, you know, pair it with cheese and tomatoes, put avocado on it, bit of peanut butter and jam would probably be nice. But yeah, as I say, it's an absolutely blank canvas, it is really, really filling. So they're a great thing to stick in the kids' lunch boxes as well if they're into it. And it's a nice, slightly more filling option to a normal cracker. I have done a cracker recipe before, which is beautiful. But this is just a really nice different option to that. So there we go. See, that's coming together in a nice big sort of a dough ball, if you like. There we go. That's just how you want it. Now I've got the oven preheating to 170 degrees. Break these into, I guess sort of tablespoon size balls. I mean, however big you want them. Of course, if you think you need to add more water to get these to stick together, then go for it. I'm sure the Roman soldiers never went around with scales and measuring devices, so. Then you're meant to flatten them out, depending on how you want them, between 2 to 6 millimeters. Of course, you might have to smoosh them a bit so they make a nice little cakey shape. I don't like them too flat because I quite like having that nice bit of bite to them. So I guess I've gone more for like the 6 millimeter, maybe even a bit bigger than that. Make it look pretty for the camera. Or as pretty as an oat cake can look. So I'm going to put these in to bake in the oven at 170 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. You don't want them to go brown. It depends on how crunchy you want them as well. I like them nice and crisp, but you want them so that just start to feel nice and solid, and they'll crisp up a little bit more while they're cooling as well. Here we go. Look what I made. Hey love, do you want it on the taste test?
Oh yeah.
I don't need to ask twice.
Am I presentable enough?
You present it, sure. Always, my darling. It's almost kind of nutty when you bake rolled oats in the oven.
Mm.
They got quite a nutty sort of flavour to them. Oh, sorry, the camera's cutting off your head. Did you want me to adjust it so you can adjust? Right.
I'll adjust. Mm. Very nice.
But that was just a nice plainish sort of nutty-ish flavour. As I say, you can add stuff to it.
And they're not ultra crumbly either. So if you buy them,
these ones are still slightly warm, which is yummy. Do you know? I actually reckon golden syrup would work on these too.
I actually really like the other ones you did too. The bigger ones. Wow. They were good.
There we go. Hit like, leave me a comment, make some oaty bickies, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And by the way, these should keep for absolutely ages. Just keep them in an airtight container in the pantry. And, well, I mean, you know, they're basically just rolled oats and water at the end of the day. So I'm going to slice up a bit of cheese, the tomato to put it on this because it's my lunchtime. So yeah, here we go. I'm going to leave some for the kids or I'll be in so much trouble.